Hi Dollies, if you guys would like to see how I use the NYX palette to achieve this look today, stay tuned. So thanks again for pressing play, Dollies. We're going to go ahead and get started. I've already put moisturizer on my face. So now what I'm doing is I'm using a foundation brush to put some pore filler on. Now you can skip this step if you don't have pores like I do, but I have large pores, so I'm going to go ahead and add this. This is by NYX. This product works very, very well for me. I know a lot of people like to use this product on top of their makeup, but I don't like to put things on top of my makeup and smear it out. So this is my primer. This is e.l.f. Again, I'm using a foundation brush to go ahead and apply the primer. I'm using my MAC Studio Fix. That's an NC50. And I'm using a dual fiber brush to apply that. So I'm just going to dab a bit on and then start using circular and sweeping motions to apply it. And if you want fuller coverage, I would suggest going ahead and do your whole face, let that set a bit, and then go ahead and do another whole application and you'll get a nice full coverage without it looking too cakey. So I'm just going to continue to blend this into my skin in a circular motion. And now I'm just going to take a little sponge and kind of tap and blend out the foundation a little bit more. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. It's just a step I like to do to make sure I don't have any excess foundation sitting on the surface. You can also use a beauty blender for that. Now I'm going to use some concealer. This is the e.l.f. palette. You can use any concealer of your choice. I'm using the lightest shade in that medium palette. I'm going to go ahead and apply that under my eyes and a check mark because that's the area where I want to highlight. And if you have any other darker areas that were troubling you, sometimes we might have a little extra pigment around our mouths or maybe around our nose. You can also put a little concealer there. This lighter shade would be good for other areas of darker pigmentation. So I'm going to also put some of that on the bridge of my nose, my cupid's bow, as well as my chin. I'm going to go ahead and bring that up into the center of my forehead as well. Again, these are all areas that I want to highlight. And I don't really add product to my eyebrows. I only get them shaped. So to add a little bit more definition, I go ahead and also use my concealer to outline my eyebrows just to make them even more sharper. So now I'm taking a darker shade of my concealer and I'm using this color to contour. And I'm just going to use it to create a shadow effect basically of an area that I kind of want to downplay, I kind of want to minimize. So there's so many different ways you can highlight and contour. Today I'm just kind of slimming down the edges, the outside of my bridge of my nose. You can also bring this down to the tip of your nose if you want to. Also slim out the tip and give it a more defined shape, but I'm not doing that today. I'm also adding a bit of those same two shades of the darker concealer to my cheekbone. Also contouring a little bit more there. I don't add too much contour to my cheek. I already have natural high cheekbones, so I don't really do too much there. I add just a little bit for a little added interest, and definitely. But if you felt like you wanted more of an illusion of a higher cheekbone, I would suggest adding a bit more um, concealer to under your cheekbone area there to kind of create that depth that you're looking for. So now I'm just using a stiff contouring brush to kind of like, you know, blend out the sharp edges of my highlight and my contour. And this is before I set it. And, you know, it's just a personal preference of mine. I'm going to go ahead and put some Midnight Banana Powder under my eyes, on the bridge of my nose, wherever you put a highlight, you can go ahead and do this. I usually don't put it around my eyebrows though, but you can. So after you've applied that all over where you put your highlight, you're going to go ahead and take another brush. You're going to take a fan brush. Once you get that all on there, and you let it set for a moment, you can take a fan brush and dust away the excess. I sometimes use a kabuki brush for this step as well. Now I'm going to take my MAC Studio Fix powder, and that's an NW45, because I like to mix my warms and my cools. We're going to go ahead and just blend that all in using a fluffy brush. I mean, if you have one of those massive blush brushes, that will work really well for that as well. Now I'm just going to take some Urban Decay eyeshadow primer and pat that onto my eyelid. And just bring it all the way up into the brow area as well. Then I'm going to take my NYX eyeshadow base. That's number 3. And I'm going to do the same thing. And just go ahead and pat that in. You can use a brush for this step as well if you want to. Now I'm going to take my Natural palette by NYX, and we're going to get started using an eyeshadow brush. And I'm going to take that third to last shade, and I'm going to tap that all over my eyelid. And this is a brush from e.l.f. It's pretty stiff. It's a nice little eyeshadow brush, so I use this brush a lot. It's actually one of my favorite go-to brushes, and it's super affordable. So I'm just packing that color on the eye. Now I'm going to go in with the second to last shade. It's kind of a seashell color. Got some pretty nice sparkle and shimmer about it. So just going ahead and blended that into my crease and up a little further into the brow bone a little bit. And when you're doing this, you just want to play to the shape of your own eye, because, you know, all of our eyes are different. So, you know, your application is going to be slightly different from my application, but you can get the same effect. So now I'm going to take the deeper shade and do a very similar application into my crease. Except this color I'm going to blend out and blend it down a little bit more into my lid using the same blending brush. Now I'm going to take my angled brush, and I'm just going to use that to kind of create more definition. A lot of people use tape to get their straight lines, or maybe a card or something. You don't have to. You can just use an angled brush if you like. And I'm just dragging out the eyeshadow even further. And I'm going to go back with my same blending brush into the same color and blend that further. Add a little bit more color. Slowly add your color. It's much easier to add it than it is to remove it. And just kind of check along the way to try to keep your eyes as even as possible. So just kind of look over at, give a glance to the other eye, to your opposite eye that you're currently working on, just to kind of keep your shape. Now I'm going to go into the second color in the palette. You can use that to define right under my eyebrow. That color is actually really pretty. I know I'm going to be using it a lot to highlight. It's really pretty. I'm just doing a little touch-ups, adding a little bit more color onto my lid. Now I'm going to go in with a mink brown kohl pencil. You can use whatever your favorite pencil is. You can use black if you want to. I'm just going to smoke this out a little bit, so I decided to go with the dark brown instead today. I'm going to go back into that color. It's almost like a seashell color. And pick up a little bit of that color on my smudge brush and smudge out that line I just created with that brown eyeliner. Now I'm going to go in with a liquid liner and a dark brown, almost black. And I'm going to create an upper lash line. And this is really to hide my false lashes that I'm going to apply, but you can do yours as thin or as thick as you like. A lot of times I go pretty heavy on the eyeliner, but because I was using my natural palette, I decided to go a little less dramatic this time on the eyeliner. So you just do both eyes, and then we're going to apply our lashes. Now I've trimmed my lashes, and the two bits that are left I'm applying to the outside corner of my bottom lash line, under the lashes. I mean, because normally you just toss that little bit, so you might as well use it. And I'm just doing the same thing there, using tweezers to apply it and tapping it down so it can dry. I'm using Revlon 3D Volume mascara to kind of blend a little further. Now I'm going to take a highlighting color with blush and a gray dual fiber fan brush. And I'm just going to apply a little bit of that to my cheekbone. Then I'm going to go in with that beautiful berry tone and add a little blush to the apples of my cheek. And bring that on back to the temple. And I like to use a dual fiber brush for these two steps because it allows you to control the product a lot better. And I like the application of the blush itself. So now I'm taking an NYX lipstick, and this is in a beautiful color called Snow White Red. I'm really loving this lipstick. It's super creamy, it's pretty on so many different skin tones.